Jared Dillian Show.
I'm Jared Dillian. This is the Jared Dillian Show. If you want to call in to talk about your money, please call 844-305-7800. That's 844-305-7800. You can also go to my website, which is jareddillianmoney.com. That's jareddillianmoney.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at DailyDirtNap. We did talk a little bit about mutual funds and how to start investing. And I talk a lot about mutual funds, but I never really have explained what they are or how they work. So what is a mutual fund? I'm just going to read. I think this is from Investopedia. A mutual fund is a type of financial vehicle made up of a pool of money collected from many investors to invest in securities like stocks, bonds, money market instruments, and other assets. A pool of money. Mutual funds are operated by professional money managers who allocate the fund's assets and attempt to produce capital gains or income for the fund's investors. A mutual fund's portfolio is structured and maintained to match the investment objectives stated in its prospectus. And this prospectus is this 200-page thing when you invest in a fund. It talks about the objectives. It gives you a sneak preview of the portfolio and all that stuff. I should emphasize here, professional money managers. And you know what the crazy thing is? People think they can do a better job than the professional money managers. Now, in what other professions do people think they can do a better job than the professionals? I mean, would you be your own lawyer? Do you think you can be a better lawyer than lawyers? Do you think you can be a better doctor than doctors? Why do you think you can be a better investor than a professional investor? You know, that's a professional investor, by the way, is somebody who went to a school like Wharton and graduated with high grades and got a job maybe at a bank or an asset management firm and worked their way up and got a CFA designation and devoted their whole life to picking stocks or picking bonds. And when you invest in one of these funds, you get a highly diversified portfolio and you get the benefits of what is pooled capital. Basically, like if you have $50,000, there's not a lot you can do with $50,000. You can't even buy one bond. But if you combine your money with 100,000 other people and there's $5 billion, you can do a lot with $5 billion. You can buy lots of bonds. You can achieve diversification. And the people who do this are professional money managers. They're professional money managers. And we sort of beat up on these guys all the time. We beat up on professional money managers because we say, you suck. You didn't beat the index, whatever. You know what? Even if somebody doesn't beat the index, which is very common, they still probably did a pretty good job. And the way in which they did a good job was they didn't blow you up. So even if they underperformed the index by 2%, and you say, oh, you're such a loser, you're underperformed by 2%, they did not blow you up, which is something that you are very likely to do to yourself if you invest on your own. You are going to blow yourself up. This is the whole purpose of giving your money to a professional investor. By the way, if you want to know who these people are, they're all on the website. If you go to T. Rowe Price and you want to invest in a T. Rowe Price mutual fund, you can go to that page, you can pull up that guy's bio, and you can say, this guy seems pretty smart, or maybe he doesn't seem so smart. But you can actually sort of, evaluate these people based on their resume. And if you're comfortable, if they seem trustworthy, then give them your money. They are professional investors. They can do a better job than you. You cannot do a better job. And look, if you get lucky and beat the index one year and you say, I beat all the professional investors. Let me tell you something. It's not skill. It's not skill. You got lucky. You did it, and you probably achieved it by taking more risk. So professional investors. And these are the people that I talk to all the time. I talk to professional investors all the time. And they're pretty smart. I talked to some today. I'm in New York. I am visiting people. I am visiting subscribers. The people that subscribe to my newsletter are pretty sophisticated people. I'm visiting with them. We had some pretty interesting conversations. We'll talk more about that in a bit. Let me continue reading about mutual funds. Mutual funds give small or individual investors access to professionally managed portfolios of equities, bonds, or other securities. Each shareholder, therefore, participates proportionally in the gains or losses of the fund. Mutual funds invest in a vast number of securities, and performance is usually tracked as the change in the total market cap of the fund derived by the blah, blah, blah. That's not important. It is a pool of money that invests in stocks or bonds. And I think that the best way to get started in investing is by investing in mutual funds. And there's 3 different types of funds. 1 is an open-end mutual fund, 2 is a closed-end mutual fund, and 3 are exchange-traded funds or ETFs. I do not recommend you buy a closed-end fund or an ETF, at least in the beginning, because they trade on an exchange. And if something trades on an exchange, then it has a ticker, and it trades throughout the day, and it goes up and it goes down, and it goes up and it goes down. And you're going to stare at it all day, and then you're going to make dumb decisions. The structure of an open-end fund is such that it only reprices once a day. You're not compelled to watch it like TV. I mean, if you pull up CNBC, they don't have tickers of the mutual funds because they don't move. They reprice once a day. And that's why the open-end structure is so good. It reprices once a day, and you don't stare at it all the time. You're in it for the long run. And you should be in it for the long run with all of your investments, not some, with all of your investments. The long run. When I trade something, it's a minimum for a year, and maybe even 10 years. I think as long as 10 years out. Usually averaging about 3 years, I would say, is the duration of my trades. If I'm out of a trade in less than a year, then it meant something went exceptionally wrong or exceptionally right. Yeah, that's usually what happens. But I am a big fan of open-end mutual funds. And by the way, there's this thing called the ETF revolution. Exchange-traded funds, passive indexing, has stolen a lot of assets from open-end mutual funds. And I think that is too bad. I think that is too bad because as much as I love ETFs, and I was an ETF trader at Lehman Brothers, I ran the desk. As great as they are, they ultimately are traded on an exchange, and they fluctuate in value, and people stare at them, and they feel compelled to sell them if something goes wrong. People don't sell mutual funds. And we can have another discussion at some point about fees on mutual funds and why fees can be good because nobody wants to pay them twice. But that's another discussion. I am a big fan of open-end mutual funds. And right now, I am an active trader. I'm a pretty aggressive investor. But at some point, I probably will give up that game. And I will just build a diversified portfolio of 5 or 6 mutual funds. And that's going to be my investments. Me, the professional investor in plain vanilla retail open-end mutual funds. I'm Jared Dillian. This is the Jared Dillian Show.